Okay, we go now.
Should I start? I mean, I can introduce you a little bit. Like,
One more minute. Okay, Pratibha, you can start now.
okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Holistic Health Alliance Community Conversations. Today, we have Ivan Pardo, who is a wonderful holistic practitioner trained in many modalities. But today, he will be presenting as a Buteyko master trainer. Uh, Buteyko is a special type of breathing technique which has a very beneficial impact on lung function, but also has multiple systemic benefits as well. And we will learn about that today in theory, as well as hopefully we will be able to have some experiential session as well. Before we begin, I just want to say quickly a few lines about Holistic Health Alliance. Holistic Health Alliance is a nationally launched nonprofit. Um, yeah, so I was just saying Holistic Health Alliance is a nationally launched nonprofit. Our tagline says building healthy communities. So that is what we are dedicated and committed to. And in line with our mission and vision, we try to bring these type of educational experiential sessions on a monthly basis or a bi-monthly basis. So do check us out at holistichealthalliance.org, starting with a W. And the same name Facebook page is also there, and we're also there on Instagram. If you're a holistic practitioner, consider joining us and join this movement of grassroots health education, where we like to educate the community of all the options that are available, which are more natural and more uh, assisting the body's healing capacities itself rather than popping a pill. So with that, I would like to welcome Ivan to start his presentation and session. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everybody. Pratibha, thank you for the opportunity. It's already 5 years that we have been trying to work together and doing very well. You are doing a great job bringing education, basically, because this is all about it. We are not looking for customers. We are not looking for clients. We are here to educate people, to give the opportunity that besides the regular medicine is something there that we love to share, because this is our passion. And I found Buteyko close to 10 years ago, a family problem, a family asthma problem. And we were able to I was able to help my sister to slow down using regular medicine and start a process of using exercise. She changed a little bit her life, and that became part of my journey. I said, I need to share this because this is something, is anything better than by education and by making basic change, we can improve our life. We can do beautiful change. And well, this is about me. I have been doing this for 9 years already, and it's my passion. Now I'm going to share the screen, and we are going immediately into business. Okay. Hyperventilation syndrome. This is my subject today. We are going to learn a little bit what hyperventilation is, how became the underlying illness, and a very silent killer that is affecting a lot of people. We say 90% of the population. In 1871, Dr. Da Costa, he was basically, after the Civil War, he was working with people who were coming from the war with heart problems, heart failures. And he started to make connections between the stress that they were suffering at the Civil War, all this kind of situation. And he started to find out that a lot of heart problems were connecting with stress, and people were overbreathing. He was the first one who was talking about hyperventilation after this. In 1937, Care and College, they named hyperventilation syndrome for first time, and they were working with a lot of elderly people, making studies after the pandemics that we have more than 100 years ago. So people were becoming with hyperventilation problems, and for first time, they named the hyperventilation syndrome. Solly and Shock, 1938, they basically worked with hyperventilation provocation technique. They were using this technique to make problems coming back. So when people are hyperventilating constantly, basically they develop the same problem that they have become something repetitive. Sir Thomas Lewis in 1940, he was working with his studies, soldiers, heat, and effort. Basically the same story. He was working with people who was hyperventilating. And in 1957, Dr. Konstantin Buteyko, he was studying different people, different science from the past, and he proved this disease of deep breathing. He officially put together a lot of information, and he proved, working with thousands of people, about the problem of hyperventilation. And recently, Claude Lum, in 1977, the Padworth method, he was doing a lot of research about hyperventilation syndrome as well. Dr. Buteyko is my hero. I really start to study deeply about Dr. Buteyko. 1927 to 2003, he passed in 2003. He was an engineer, and he went to the medical school for training in 1946. One of his assignments was working in a hospital, observing people who was going to die. And he observed that when someone is going to die, they start to breathe faster and deeper. In that moment, he was developing chronic systolic hypertension. And in that period of time, someone with that kind of condition were able to live only 6 months to 1 year. So by observing his patients, he started to work with himself, and he started to slow down his deep breathing. And in 6 months, he was able to totally stop his hypertension syndrome. And after that, he became very big. He was working with the government, the Soviet Union in the 70s. He was working with sport teams for the Olympics. It was very difficult. If you go online and you Google it, you will find out that his life was very complicated, but he found out the way to bring this to the world. Buteyko therapy jumped from the Soviet Union to Australia, from Australia to the United Kingdom, Europe, and all over the world. And right now in the States is something kind of new. Not a lot of people are teaching Buteyko breathing. What is dysfunctional breathing? Dysfunctional breathing is not officially, it doesn't have a precise definition. Generally, is including anomalies with breathing. The breathing became heavier, very unstable, very noticeable. Includes hyperventilation and overbreathing. Suddenly, people have unexplained breathlessness, breathing pattern disorders, and anomalies even when they are sleeping. Signs of breathing dysfunction. Number one, breathing through the mouth. Heavy breathing during rest. Someone is resting and the breathing became very noticeable is because something is not right. Breathing through the mouth, I think, is the number one trigger for breathing dysfunction. We don't notice when we are breathing through the mouth. We have a series of exercise to reverse and to make that change. Is the number one problem when people are over breathing. Regular sniffing, saying regularly, taking large breaths prior to talking. When someone is talking and need to take a deep breath, is because it's a biochemical process that is not working properly and is related with carbon dioxide and oxygen. We need carbon dioxide, and Dr. Buteyko used to talk very clearly about the importance of carbon dioxide. When we slow our breathing, when we work mostly in our exhalation, we are able to make oxygen that is coming more efficient. And this is what we need when we breathe. We don't need to take heavy breaths, because when we take heavy breaths, deep breaths, we are slowing down our carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide, by the end, is the one which release oxygen into the blood, the tissues, and the organs. So it's very important to think about how is our breathing right now. Yawning with big breaths is another sign that some breathing problems are there. Upper chest breathing. We people who breathe with the chest only, we call shallow breathing. They are not using the oxygen properly because they are not using the diaphragm. And the diaphragm is that such an important muscle that is creating a lot of activity. So when we breathe, we need to feel the diaphragm activity expands and is moving. When it's moving, it's really making even the digestive system work better. Someone who is breathing with a lot of visibility, a lot of movements, has a dysfunction in their breath. What is a normal breathing volume? A normal breathing volume is about 4 to 10 liters per minute. That means 10 to 12 in and outs, inhale and exhale per minute. Someone with asthma is breathing 13 to 15 times per minute. Someone with sleep apnea, 10 to 15 times per minute. That means more than 20, between 20 and sometimes 30 in and outs per minute. The perfect breathing should be between 4 to 6 in and outs per minute. To get to this point, requires a lot of exercise and making few change with even with diet. And here we are going to talk about what is the cause of dysfunctional breathing. Processed food is something that is avoidable. We can pick our food, we can be a little bit more selective. Processed food create acidity, and acidity change the pH. That makes a biochemical change that is going to increase the quantity of oxygen that we need to intake. We can live without food for months, without water for weeks, but without oxygen, only a few minutes. So we need to be very specific. We need to have more awareness about what quantity of food we have, the quality. The same thing with the water, the quantity of the water and the quality of the water. And with oxygen should be the same. How many times can we breathe per minute? How do we want to more efficient the oxygen that we are intaking? Someone who is talking too much, excessive talking, creates hyperventilation. Because we are losing a lot of carbon dioxide when we are talking. Remember, when we are doing the talking, we are doing exhalations. Every time that we exhale, we are putting out carbon dioxide. Stress is another big dysfunctional breathing problem. We have it, things are coming from the outside, things are coming from our mind. If we don't have a quiet mind, we cannot have a really quiet breathing. Believing in deep breaths. People who are, I was always listening, and my teachers were telling me, you need to take a deep breath. Take deep breath through your mouth. What happens when we breathe through the mouth? The air is coming cold, with pollen, with germs, with bacteria, with virus. If we are breathing through the nose, it's a big difference because the nose is the most perfect lab in nature, one of the most perfect labs in nature. If we are breathing through the nose, the air, which is coming cold or hot, goes to the right temperature to the lungs. The nose creates, we have at the paranasals, we make nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a very important molecule, which is the base of Viagra, as we know. But besides being a vasodilator, it's an antiviral, it's an antihistaminic, uh, creates helps with absorption from oxygen, creates, moisturize the lungs. So nitric oxide is a very important molecule, and we make it. Every time that we are breathing, we are making it. We need to be more aware about breathing all the time, breathing in and out through the nose. Because if we are breathing through the mouth, dry mouth, problems with teeth, problems with breath, different issues happen. Asthma. Asthma is another creator of dysfunctional breathing. Asthma is the response of the immune system saying like, we are very lack of carbon dioxide. So the bronchioles swell, create inflammation, and we have less air, less oxygen coming. And people with genetic predispositions and familiar habits that they have dysfunctional breathing. When the kid is seeing grandpa taking deep breaths and yawning, that things can be adopted for our kids. So things that create dysfunctional breathing are there in front of us, We just need to identify them. Breathing during stress. We breathe, how we breathe when we are having a stress situation. We breathe faster. Mostly we breathe through the mouth. We are signing irregularly all the time. Again, the breathing becomes very noticeable, upper chest breathing, and the body starts the flight and fight mood. What happened with the flight and fight? That we have the nervous system, we have the parasympathetic system, and we have the sympathetic system. The sympathetic system is the reaction and really protect the body. It's a reaction of protection. But if we are able to change from the sympathetic system to the parasympathetic system by slowing or breathing, the reaction is going to be different. Because when we change to parasympathetic system, we are going to have more oxygen and more blood going into the brain. We are having a panic attack. What happened with the panic attack? The brain, if it's getting more oxygenation, the reactions are going to be more specific for the problem. We are going to be more aware of how to respond to something that is happening, is coming from the outside. We are not going to have our hands, our feet cold, because sometimes that happens. We are having a flight and fight reaction when we are having a panic attack. If we are able to breathe through the nose, slow our breath, take 5 minutes out of the situation, the reaction that we are going eventually to have with the problem is going to be totally different if we allow that our sympathetic system take charge of our response. So it's very important to observe how are we going to react until a panic attack. Breathing is the number one helper in these kind of situations. How we breathe during stress, we slow down. How should we breathe? We should slow down our breathing. Breathe through the nose. Breathe the air, breathe the oxygen to the diaphragm and use it. Soften the breathing, slow breaths. And we always recommend, we need to focus a little bit more in slow exhalations, taking, yeah, and this is an exercise. This is one of the ideas of breathing. We should breathe. We should exhale 1.5 more than we exhale, about 10. We inhale 4 seconds. We should exhale 6 seconds. That makes our body goes into the stage of more balance. It's more frequency with the breathing. Regular breathing and conscious breathing. What conscious breathing means? All the above. Being aware, being checking, observing ourselves. How is our breathing in different situations? And well, from here, stress. I want to take this point at the picture of this kid because right now, stress is something that is in the air all over the world. And our kids, they need support. When I think about, if I think that I am living this situation of this pandemic right now, like when I was 10 or 15, being at home, not being able to going out, that will be very complicated, and they are living a very difficult time. So I want to focus now with the next teenagers and children breathing, how we can help them, how some medical doctors can help our kids with breathing. They have to breathe through the nose all the time. If a child is breathing through the mouth for more than a week, we need to give him attention. We need to observe how are they breathing, because mouth breathing creates different kind of disorders. Cognitive disorders, concentration lapses, learning deficit, problems with different kind of activities. And right now the studies are saying that at least 50% of children are mouth breathers. And this is very serious, people. This is something that we need to take some responsibility on that. And we need to help them to change that. Sleepiness during the day creates 10 times more learning difficulties. Snoring in children is a big sign of breathing deficiencies. And we shouldn't take snoring like something like no, is he snoring? No. When a kid is snoring, is a high risk that is developing a very serious breathing problem. And when they develop serious breathing problems at that age, this is going to be the rest of the life. And this is in part my situation. And I didn't notice that. I have problem with my teeth. I always was a mouth breather. When I was going to sleep, I had to sleep with a glass of water beside my bed because I was waking up 3-4 times at night to drink water because my mouth was dry. And I started to have problem with my teeth. My teeth didn't grow up as I want. And I found out about it when I did Buteyko. When I took the training, I said, wow, this is a lot of things that are common sense, but we don't give them attention. ADHD. When I learned all about this, I found out that we are really living in a moment of ADHD is a sleep disturbance, start HDID, creates low academic level and hyperactivity, are complications in many children who have nasal allergies. Rhinitis is totally connected with people who have ADHD. And I have been working with several people, adults. And when we go to the past, when we go to find out about what happened with when they were kids, a lot of them, they remember having problems, breathing problems, having problems with the adenoids, having inflammation all the time, not being able to breathe through the nose as they should be. And that creates a lot of complications. 40% of children suffering from sleep disorders develop ADD, ADHD, and learning problems. If the child is diagnosed with sleep disorders at the age of 5 and is not treated properly, 60% may require special education at age of 8. And this is very concerning. The statistics say that a child who snores by the age is a 80% chance that his or her mental capacity will reduce 20%. And this is real. This is a lot of studies that we take are coming from different corporate or different for science. This is all this information. If you want it in some point more specific, I can send you the information that proves this that we are sharing. Doctors, very rarely they make the connection between nasal obstruction and the problem that the child is suffering. So it's very rare to find doctors that they don't know about this. But right now, lately, we had more people, more doctors from different fields trying to make the connection between breathing and ADHD. Not necessarily taking Buteyko, because people don't know about Buteyko, but they are checking options with different breathing techniques. And it's amazing how they can help the kids. Something else that is happening, this study from Dental Cosmos, this is from 1917. They were the first one who started to make a connection between craniofacial development and breathing. When the child is not breathing properly, the chin start to have problems, doesn't develop properly. The roof of the mouth, the palate, became very tight, and the tongue is going to be in the lower part of the mouth. So this is going to create a lot of dysfunctionality in the mouth. Dental arches are contracted. They don't develop properly. Problem with decay teeth, dryness of the mouth and throat in the morning. This is something that I suffered until I was in my 40s. Constantly headache problems, migraines, restless sleep. If we are not able to sleep, if the child is not able to sleep properly, during the day is not going to function well. During the day is going to be tired, and eventually is going to be diagnosticated with sleep apnea, and he's going to use a machine. I see kids 8, 7 years old already using the CPAP machines. And it's very sad because the CPAP machine, of course, is supporting oxygen, but it's not fixing the problem. The problem is there. The problem is very serious, and we don't treat it properly. So it's very important to help them when they are tired during the day. We need to notice how is their sleeping, how if they are really resting or not. Bones on the face and underdeveloped, different, I don't know, I didn't include pictures here, but we have a lot of pictures with a child who are mouth breathers. The face develops totally different than a child that is breathing through the nose all the time. The face looks dull and expressionless. I can share pictures by email and more information about this because it's there and the studies are there. Craniofacial development. 60% of the growth of the face take place during the first 4 years of age, and 90% by the age of 12. Development on the lower jaw continues until 18 years old. So since the first minute, the first month, we need to observe how our child is breathing. I have been seeing childs 3, 4 months old that they are already breathing through the mouth because the mother was a smoker, the mother was using drugs, different situations, trauma, mother's trauma, so that passed. Overall, linear growth change occur between 0.5 and 5 years of age, were generally greater than the change in maxillary growth, which occurs between 5 to 16 years. So it's a lot of possibilities that we have when we are observing these kind of problems. And surgery, functional dentists, more and more dentists and more the medical community are aware of this. And we have more experts right now working there. We do referrals locally. We know, I know locally in Massachusetts, in Boston area, some functional dentists and people who are working and very aware about this. Dr. Carl Schrein, the effects of nasal obstruction are virtually complete by puberty. So the window of opportunity is very brief. Delay in intervention may result in unsuccessful orthodontic treatments, which may require surgery at an older age. It's happening. And you know that, a lot of people that are suffering this situation right now. As a prerequisite for resolving the issue, we need to reliably identify respiratory functions and quantify the degree of obstruction. Comparison of persons matched for age and gender, with and without nasal obstruction, should provide the clinician with information of any clinical relevant difference in facial morphologic characteristics. I know that I have here right now some dentists and some people from the medical community, and it's wonderful. They work with kids, and we have a responsibility here, and we have the responsibility to start to connect the dots. If we connect the dots properly, and we get the right information, we need to bring this, we need to come together. A lot of things are not still proof in the science community about, but we don't need to wait until a lot of things are proved to start to work in that and to make them to prove that really mouth breathing is creator of a lot of deficiencies in our kids. And what happens when they are going to be adults? They are going to have a lot of complications. Reported in a group of children who had adenoidectomy when they extract the adenoids, that they return to nasal breathing and demonstrate craniofacial growth change. This change in breathing mode, mandibular and maxillary growth were measured 5 years after the surgery happened. And they really can't reverse that. But what happened? My question is, what happened when or the child has the surgery? They take the adenoids off, but after that they keep breathing through the mouth. The problem is still there. The problem is going to come back. And in several cases, I have seen kids that they had the surgery, but they don't follow up with nasal breathing. They keep breathing the same, and they need to have 3 or 4 surgeries. And this is a trauma. This is very complicated. But if the kid had the surgery and changed to nasal breathing, it's a lot of help. It's going to be very, very beautiful for them and for the family. Well, I have a question before going with the last slide. My question is, why we are not going to teach them to breathe through the nose? Why we don't help them? Why we don't try to be aware of the breathing and help them to become a nasal breathing? Is different techniques, different ways that we can teach them to make that change. Of course, the child is not going to learn to breathe through the nose if his parents or her parents are not breathing through the nose as well. So because this is something involves the family. The child is not an isolated individual. The child needs the support of the parents. And so it's very important that we work together with this. And the last slide, because I know that it's 45 minutes. Thank you. I am going to take some questions after. Indeed, Buteyko breathing education is available in depth and for you and your company. We are working with individuals, with groups, and we have a corporate program where the employers and the employed, they get a lot of benefits, mostly right now. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I am going to see if there's any questions there. Prativa?
Yes. Yes, Ivan.
Yes, it is any questions or someone has
Yeah,
something to ask?
people can ask questions in the chat box or unmute yourself.
We can unmute, yes, we can unmute.
Yeah, I mean, people can also unmute if they want. Um, did you want to demonstrate something, Ivan? How to breathe?
Absolutely, absolutely. We can do some mm, breathing reduction. Uh,
Yeah, I think any small technique will be helpful.
yes, I can give one technique. Well, it's not a technique, it's a tip that I use for nasal breathing. Give me 1 second, please.
Mhm.
And always for sleeping, I am always talking about the tape. Taping your mouth before you go to sleep. Doesn't work with kids. I don't know. I don't want kids taping their mouth. I don't want people with anxiety using the tape. But the tape is something that is a very simple and very basic tip. 5 minutes before you go to bed, you take a little piece of, this is micropore tape, micropore. I used to do, I put something on my hand to take a little bit of the glue off. I fold one of the sides and I go to sleep. Probably the first nights, the tape is going to be on your head because naturally you are going to take it off. But after a few nights, really works. This stopped me from drinking water at night. This bring me to a deeper sleep. So the tape is a big change. It's something very simple, and like Buteyko is a very simple exercise. Is different simple basic exercise, but simplicity sometimes makes things a little bit complicated. Depends on how we see them. So the tape is something very basic. And now, but I would like you, maybe you can open the cameras if you want. So I would like to observe how few of you are breathing. That would be great. And we can do some 5 minutes of slow breathing, but I'm not seeing everybody here. Everybody is very shy. Great. Thank you, Matri, Shah. Good to see faces. Good to see faces. Thank you. Okay. So we can do some, we are going to do a 5 minutes only from slow breathing. We are going to slow down our breathing. Mostly we are breathing 10, 12 times per minute. We are going to try to go 4 times per minute. So breathing in and exhaling a little bit more than 1.5, exhaling double. By the second minute of slowing our breath, we are going to reduce our breathing. We are going to close. We are number one, some relaxation. Posture is very important. Posture is something that is required to have a proper breathing. Relaxation, shoulders. The tongue should go to the roof of the mouth. Always should be there. And well, in Indian community, they know how to breathe perfectly. Dr. Buteyko, he was studying a lot of pranayama. And Buteyko and pranayama They have a lot of similarity. It's very similar in a lot of different things. He took it to the scientific side. So we are going to slow down our breath the most that we can, feeling the air coming in. Close your eyes, feel the air coming in, fill it up your lungs, and start to do a very slow exhalation and focus in your exhalation. When you are doing a very slow exhalation, you are slowing your brain activity 30%. So do a very slow exhalation. Take a second breath in and start to exhale very, very slow. And the next inhalation is going to be half of the first one, very short. You are going to feel that your nose and your lungs are one organ, and you are going to just take a sip of air, and you are going to sip of air, take it to the lower lungs, breathing very, very slow, taking a little bit of air, very slow, take it to the bottom of your lungs. With your eyes closed, you are going to see, you are going to imagine how is your room, how is the place where you are right now. But you keep your eyes closed and you are going to exhale very slow and exhale until the end. Inhale a little, exhale totally. And you are visualizing your room with your eyes closed. Inhale a little bit. When you inhale, you feel your body going up. When you exhale, everything relax. Inhale a little and exhale, exhale, exhale. I want you to feel a little bit of shortness of breath, that you are feeling air hunger. Air hunger is not bad. A little, only a little. I want you to feel a little bit of air hunger. Slow, slow, slow until the end. And suddenly you are going to make more saliva and your body temperature is going to be up a little bit. And you keep exhaling, you keep doing your exhalation until the end. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose very slowly. 100% of the time, your breathing should be through the nose, and your breathing should be very, very slow but deep. The slower is your breathing, more oxygen is going to your brain. And this is what you need. You need more oxygen in your brain. If you have more oxygen in your brain, your whole body is going to work much better. When you have more oxygen in your brain, the 60,000 thoughts that you have a day, they are going to reduce. And you are going to start to have resolutions, ideas, answers. But you need to slow your breath. It's important to feel that air hunger is good for you a little bit. Don't go that far. Just feel a little bit uncomfortable, but you can manage that air hunger. And you start to breathe normally again. You start to breathe normally again. Breathe in, breathe out. And you can come back. It's only 4 minutes of slow breath, slow breathing. If you can do that 5 minutes, 15 minutes before you go to bed, and after that, you tape your mouth is going to be, this helping with the sleeping a lot of people, and with anxiety. Anxiety is something that we can control. Anxiety, we are able to do it if we go with our breathing. If we are in charge of our breathing, we are able to control anxiety and to help more people with anxiety. It's very simple, but I will be more than happy to share more and more. Pratibha, you are in charge again, like always.
Sorry, I'm talking mute. We have several participants from India. I want to acknowledge them as well. So I don't see any questions in the chat box, Ivan, so I will do the honors. I will ask you a question.
Absolutely.
Are you ready? Okay, so my question is that in pranayama practices, the focus is actually on longer inhalations, prolonged inhalations, and the idea is that you're taking more prana or more vital force, you're inhaling. So my understanding, the way I'm understanding Buteyko, is that you are, with these short practices of shorter inhalations and longer exhalations, I think you are creating a hunger in the cells for more oxygen, which probably leads to better saturation. Is
Yes,
my understanding correct on that?
it is the biochemistry.
Okay.
This is the response of the biochemistry. When we are creating a little bit of air hunger for oxygen, carbon dioxide, instead of being 5, is going to be 5.25, just a little. But with that little bit of more carbon dioxide activity, we are going to have more absorption of oxygen, more absorption of oxygen. So this is the key, and this is what Dr. Buteyko discovered. He discovered basically that by slowing down and working more in some way with the exhalation, is more absorption. It's a biochemistry process. The alkalinity even is the full process. But when we are not creating enough carbon dioxide in our lungs, we are making carbon dioxide the whole body, the muscles, especially when we do exercise. We are creating carbon dioxide all the time. But when it's not properly, when it's not a balance, different organs start to back up and to make more carbon dioxide. And in that moment, the metabolism process change. So this is the idea of working with trying to have a balance between inhale and exhale. Can you share some literature on biochemistry? Oh, absolutely, Maitri. How do you train children to control the inhalation and exhalation? Beautiful question. We have different kind of exercise. We ask the kids to, depending of the age. Personally, I don't work with kids who are less than 5 years old because it's complicated. We need the parents, and what we have different kind of games. For example, how a rabbit breeds. We start to make different how smart how the turtles, who is the animal who lives longer. We have different patterns. I can send you, and something very important. We are working, I am looking for someone who translate. We had a booklet, a training for kids for free. It's a program for kids with the Buteyko Clinic in Ireland with Patrick. He has a program for kids. It's in English right now, and we want to give that program for free all over the world. And it's a full program of breathing training, especially for kids. We need help with Hindi translation. I put it there. Yes, I will send it to you. We are making some basic change right now, but in a week it's going to be ready. And we want to spread that all over the world because it's a beautiful program. It's totally free.
Can you share the English PDF with me when it's ready, and I'll share with this group?
Absolutely.
And Maitri, I can also help with the Hindi translation.
Perfect.
My background is in Ayurveda, so you know
Oh,
Sanskrit, Hindi,
perfect.
and I teach Sanskrit and Hindi, so I can
Wow.
help with
Wow.
that.
I think then I think you would be a better
Time is
person
a
to
problem. Time is a problem, but together we can do it probably.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
exciting. So, Ivan, one more thing that I want to request. I mean, please do look in the chat box. There are a lot of requests for like biochemistry links, etc. But if you could also share for an averagely normal breather, what would be the ideal number of times to practice this type of breathing? And how long, like what is the total duration and what is the ideal way to spread it out? Because as I understand correctly, that this should not be the regular way of breathing, right?
Should be the regular way of breathing. This is
Really?
the idea. My own experience, Prativa, is now when I can focus in my breathing, when I do my breathing exercise, I breathe 1.5 per minute. And when I breathe 1.5 times per minute for 10 consecutive minutes, I have it's very interesting. My health is really, I don't take any supplements. I don't, my breathing is, I think, very balanced. It's very important that we have a program. The program for breathing that we have is 6 weeks, 1 hour every day, and we change the breathing exercise every single week. We work, this is something that is very individual because everybody breathes different. I work with people with diabetes, overweight. They need to take another kind of approach to do the Buteyko breathing exercise than someone who is not taking medicine. So it's very particular, but the average breathing, I will say, is between 8 to 12 times per minute, 4 to 6 liters per minute. Each breath that we intake is half a liter of air. So if we are able to breathe between 8 to 10 times per minute, initially is fine. But remember, everybody is different. Everybody needs different amounts of water, different food, different quantities of food. So it's something very personal. Each individual is totally different. But I will be more than happy to get requests and I can send. I need to know more about the person, about the individual, and set up, customize the breathing program. That's it.
Maybe you need to offer a second session where it's only practice, right? It's only practice.
Okay.
You lead us through a practice. I
Okay.
think that will
Absolutely.
be very helpful. If you want, would everybody like that as part 2?
Yes, yes.
Where can we look up the whole system of Buteyko breathing technique? Send me an email and send me information and I will be immediately.
I will share Ivan's email ID
Yes. This
with
is from
everybody.
Julia. Julia, thank you. Yes, absolutely. I will be more than happy. Right now, we are training people who want to become educators, and we can connect you with with functional dentists who are using Buteyko already, with craniofacial experts that they are working. They are using Buteyko as a tool to help their patients.
Okay,
Okay.
so I think for today, I think we can, if anybody has any other final thoughts or questions, please ask now, but do stay in touch. Again, Holistic Health Alliance is probably an idea which is a little ahead of its time. But the goal again is to really educate every individual that there are many things around us in the nature. Modern medicine is just 200 or so years old. So we were living more in synchrony with nature and natural universal principles before that, which is something we need to make sure we have a lot of it in our personal lives, because that should be the first go-to. Modern medicine should be there only for acute conditions. Of course, if somebody is having a heart attack, don't sit down and meditate or do Reiki at that time. Do rush to the ER. But it's for everything else, I think there should be natural methods. So that is the philosophy, and hopefully we are in 2 states in United States already. Hopefully at some point we can go international. My other nonprofit is already international. We have a chapter in India, but that's based on Ayurveda research. So that's more specific to the Ayurvedic community. But with that, I do want to thank Ivan for taking out time and giving a very nice, simple, easy presentation, which everybody could understand. I'm sure.
Even with my accent.
We'll manage with that. But it was really good. Not many people know, but this is actually coming into mainstream also. I've seen it in Boston Medical Center, etc. Buteyko breathing long back. So with that, I want to conclude today's session, and also thanks to all the attendees for taking out the time. Do practice it. That's when it becomes successful. And hopefully we'll be able to announce a part 2 where we will just practice. All right?
Absolutely.
All right. Have a wonderful night in India. Have a wonderful day, or wherever you are, whatever time of the day it is. Thank you, everyone. Please do put some comments on the event page to encourage others to appreciate that these are useful ways of living. All right. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, everybody.
Good evening. Good morning.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Juan Carlos.
Thank you.
Have a nice rest of the day.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Thank you. Have a good day.